Welcome, everyone. Today, Frozen Planet 2, and this is a Minecraft world, and it's also a BBC documentary. And I hope that if you haven't seen it, that you will see it. We are extremely fortunate to have an awesome guest today that I'm going to introduce in a second. I'm joining you from Amiskwaciwâskagen, which is Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where some of this footage takes place in my home province. And we always like to acknowledge the traditional lands and the knowledge holders who have been here long before us, especially as stewards of our land and water, and thinking about that in context of Earth Week and who is going to take care of the land. It's got to be you people taking care of the land. And we acknowledge the First Nations people for their stewardship of the land and water. Joining me is Mr. Noble, Dan Noble from Scotland. He's in Dumfries. He's a Minecraft ninja. If you have any Minecraft questions, he is going to be happy to help you with those. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Darren. Thanks for the intro. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Noble. I'm part of the extended team here at the awesome Cobblestone Collective. And I am a full-time Minecraft education consultant. So doing work with content builds, workshops, esports, teacher and services, lots of fun stuff all the time. And yes, I am located up here in Dumfries, Scotland.
So fun. Now, we're joining you as part of the Cobblestone Collective, where Dan and I teach all the time. We do Minecraft things, we do coding, but today we're working for Cobblestone Collective, where we get to do awesome things, working with Minecraft and doing great things like that. So we're very thankful to Minecraft Education for the sponsorship of these kind of sessions where we get to do amazing things, and also the BBC, where we get to meet amazing people like our guest today, who we're going to introduce in just one sec. I should have kept you backstage for one sec, Jane, but that's okay. Now, some of you have already, yeah, I can hide you. Some of you have already figured out how the forum works. So remember, if you have trouble or you want to just rewind, you can always do that because we're on YouTube Live. But we would like to be able to hear you. Hopefully you can hear us and see us, but we can't see and hear you. But we would love your questions. So let's practice right now. The cc.page/Minecraft is what you're going to type in. And that is where you are going to type your questions. Okay, so let's go ahead and give us some questions right there. Just tell us how you're doing and where you're joining us from. I already see Miss Powell's class is in, and we have Miss D's virtual class joining us again, grade 3 from London, Ontario. That's awesome. So let us know where you're joining us from and how you're doing. All right. So just let us know how you're doing. We have lots of classes joining us today. We have 33 classes right now. So that's a lot of students. Mrs. Niebauer's class is here from sunny.
Oh, hi there, Mrs. Niebauer.
And from Surrey, British Columbia. So we have people from all over. Yay, Tacoma, Washington. Cold Lake. It's in my neck of the woods. That's fantastic. Another class, Miami. Another class from Florida.
Tons coming in now.
Lots from Florida. That's great. Students, you're doing awesome. Keep on going. Let us know where you're from. I'm really excited. Frozen Planet 2 is the world that we are going to be playing today. It's a super fascinating world where we get to become all kinds of different creatures, and it's going to be great. We have an unbelievable guest joining us today. That's why I guess I kept you right upstage here. This is a person who's just inspiring. If you've seen these, I'm very, very excited because I watched the series, and just to get someone who's been involved in this series, and it's just so awesome. So welcome, Jane. Jane is a wildlife film producer, works for the BBC. Hi.
Hi, thank you very much. You're very kind. Yeah, it's lovely to be here. I've not done one of these Minecraft sessions. I have a 12-year-old son who loves Minecraft, so I know a little bit about it, but I'm not here to answer any questions about Minecraft. But if you have any questions about the series or anything about the wildlife, then yes, I am very happy to answer anything about that as the wildlife producer from the series.
Absolutely. So if you have seen the series and this episode, you'll know that they go through some awesome, fascinating things. So one of them is they see bison in Wood Buffalo National Park, which is just in my home province. And if you're in Cold Lake, you might know where that is. Straight north from Cold Lake, you'll get to Wood Buffalo. And they go to Siberia. and to Alaska. And there's these painted turtles. So there's all kinds of fascinating things in this in itself. So, but maybe Jane, if students don't know at all, like what you do as a film producer, like what is your job like? Like, what do you do?
So as a film producer, I basically at the start of a project get a blank canvas. So it's a bit like a kind of art project. You get to look at this blank canvas and think, what do you want to make it look like by the end? And I have to use kind of like my research team and work with scientists to think about all the different stories that exist in nature, and then use my kind of film expertise to work out how we might film that. What kind of techniques do we need? What technology would reveal these things the best, whether it's through helicopters or drones or nighttime cameras or time-lapse cameras. And then as a producer, you have that kind of overall stitch job of kind of piecing it all together. So you run the whole project, you direct the sequences, you storyboard it up, you send your crews out, you budget it up. So it's quite a diverse project to run as a producer, because you're working globally. As you said, like we're working from Canada to Alaska to Russia, Scandinavia. And you've got to work with your teams and the scientists to pull it all together. And then as a producer, my role is then looking through all the footage and working out how it's going to work in the edit. And then I work with an editing team who craft the footage into a film at the end. And by the end, we'll have a 50-minute film of pretty pictures. And then I write the script, work with the composer team to write the music, and then a post-production team to basically put it all together so that that blank canvas from the beginning finally looks kind of polished and beautiful and sounds wonderful at the end.
That's amazing. Yeah. So students, let's get some questions for our awesome guest, Jane. I have a lot of questions. I could probably just ask a million questions, but have you always been interested in nature or photography, or how did you start on this path to even get where you are?
I have always really, really loved nature, and I've always really loved art. And I think art and science actually is an incredibly interesting combination, because they complement each other so well. So as a student, I studied science. I loved it. That was one of my favorite subjects. I loved geography. I loved the idea of travel and exploring. But I love marrying that up all the time with drawing or taking photographs. And so for me, it was quite a good combination. I was also very fortunate in some ways, because when I was a kid, I spent my primary school living in East Africa. My parents worked overseas. And so I was actually very into kind of African nature as a kid. And then I volunteered in a couple of charities overseas in Africa with wildlife. One of them was the Jane Goodall Institute, which is a really big, well-known conservation company in the States. Actually, it's really popular in the States. And that gave me kind of a good instinct into, yes, I do want to work in wildlife, and I do want to work in something that's important and has value in the world, where you can make a difference in conservation through telling stories or working with Indigenous knowledge. Like you were saying earlier, it's really important to work collaboratively, not just with scientists, but with people of all these like different, deep-rooted knowledge, and channel that into making beautiful films. Because I love documentaries, I love film, I love art, I love music, and actually the job seems sort of, I just was fortunate in the way that I guess had enough experience to get qualified with a science degree. Well, I got a science degree, and then I did a media master's in journalism, and that kind of like gave me that journalism experience. And then I started working for the BBC as a researcher, finding stories, and then built up my experience to become a producer and sort of run projects and make films myself.
That's so
very
great.
Cool.
Delilah has a question. What have been a few of your favorite places and wildlife featured in the BBC series? So do you have any favorites that really stand out?
I think one of my favorite places that I've ever been, and it's just so extraordinary, is the place where we filmed the caribou story in Alaska. It's right up on the North Slope. It's so beautiful, and it's really remote. And like I said, I grew up in Africa, where you see, like, I've seen wildebeest migrations, and I've seen really big herds and really beautiful wildlife. But in Alaska, it was so remote, and it was so extraordinary that there was no people as well. And that felt really special. The light was incredible. You've got 24-hour sunshine, which is something that you definitely don't get in a lot of other places in the world. You don't get it in East Africa. And that just changes everything. You can kind of, it was just so magical. So that was probably one of my favorite places that I got to go to as a result of filming this project. Alaska is also just an incredible place.
Yeah, it's so wild. And when you're in those helicopters, I mean, watching that footage, they look like insects. There's so many caribou. Like, how many in those herds? There's tens of thousands or 100,000.
Yeah, I think the biggest herd altogether that we saw were probably about 70,000, but they can kind of like exist in they're one of the biggest kind of herds that you get in the natural world. And at times those migrations can be like 250,000. So it's, as a natural rhythm, it's amazing. And flying over, you do get the sense that they are like insects. But what's interesting is they also carve these tracks, and they're these massively like long straight paths that they follow for generations and generations, like every year. And so you see these paths being kind of like trodden into the landscape that just don't change because the migrations happen so repeatedly on an annual cycle. So it's really like to give the helicopter sort of world eye view down on it, you get to see the huge migration, but also just these kind of like networks of paths that they kind of crisscross through the mountains and across the valleys. It's just beautiful.
I have to admit, I was pretty tense when they were filming the river crossing and the little baby caribou's in the water. I'm like, no, you're not, come on. And then got to the shore and I was like, oh, okay, phew, that's so fantastic. So that's the one for this series. Logan was also wondering, what other places have you been in the world? I know you're working on something brand new, so we won't digress too much into what you're doing currently because we were talking about the frozen lands, but you're doing something fascinating right now.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in East Africa. I spent filming time in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Australia, Alaska, Canada. But my heart really, I guess because of my childhood, is in East Africa, and I love going back there. And so having finished Frozen Planet, I'm now starting to work on a project in Kenya. And I've been there on and off for the last year, setting up a project, and we're filming lions. It's kind of like the real life Lion King. So we're following a pride of lions and continuing the story from kind of cubs to kings, and all the kind of fractions that happen, and all the kind of like tensions that go with dominance and hierarchy and status, which is going to be really exciting because it's all real life. It'll feel like a drama, but it's based on documentary truth. It's based on real life relationships. So
is that the title, From Cubs to Kings? From Cubs to Kings would be a great
title. No, it's not bad. I might write that down.
Write that down. Cubs to Kings, but yeah, that's great. Yeah. Stephanie is wondering, what was the hardest place to shoot in this series of the Frozen Lands? What was the hardest one to do?
Well, from my program, it probably was the one that Wood Buffalo National Park in Canada, where we were filming wolves hunting bison, because it's a huge area. It's the size of Switzerland. I mean, it's just absolutely massive. And we were trying to keep up with the wolves in two ways. One, on the ground with the ground team with skidoos or hiking, which is very hard. And we realistically could only do that if we could drop the teams into place on helicopters or with a helicopter, and then they would hike. So we'd have to fly, look at where the kind of opportunities were, and then position our ground teams ahead of the situation. And sometimes that worked and sometimes it didn't work. And then the helicopter team would then go and do some aerial filming and then pick up the people before it got too cold or before like the rain, the kind of ice came in. So it was like a kind of military mission as opposed to a filming mission. And so that was interesting, but incredibly sort of logistically and technically challenging.
Yeah. And some students, if you're dying to play Minecraft, don't worry, we have lots of Minecraft time. Who's asking, have you seen a bison? Have you seen a bison on the ground? I know it was during COVID, so there was kind of some unique filming for this series.
Have I seen a bison? I don't think I have, actually. I haven't seen a bison on the ground because I couldn't go on that shoot. But my team did, and they saw it. They saw in you've seen a bison though, right? You've seen a bison in person.
Well, I'm really fortunate. I'm close to Elk Island National Park, which has herds of bison. So I've been within a meter of a bison. And just last summer I was there, and this bison wouldn't get off the road. So this giant bull, bigger than my car, I think, was standing there, and you just get the sense of how big they are. And you get these packs of wolves. Like, students, if you haven't seen this, you need to watch these series. It's just so fascinating. The one that's really fascinating that I thought was just those little painted turtles that, they're so tiny, And Miss Riggs' class from Arizona is asking, which animal was the hardest to get a picture of?
Oh, well, the hardest animal on my film to get a picture of was definitely the Amur leopard.
Oh, okay.
It's one of the most rare animals on Earth. It's the most rare big cat on Earth. There's less than 200 that exist in the whole world, and they are isolated in this kind of like forest, frozen forest in Siberia, in Russia. So we couldn't film that even with, we couldn't film with drones or with putting a cameraman in hide. We basically had to take cameras, like photography cameras that also filmed on video, and then put them into a really kind of specialist housing so that they were really well protected, and then add car batteries and triggers, and then put them all through the forest with triggers so that if any animal walked past, it would then trigger the camera to start rolling. And we basically left those, we positioned about 30 cameras all through the forest. They're called camera traps. And we positioned them all through the forest and just kept moving them when we were kind of working out whether they were successful or not successful. And we ended up filming that whole sequence about Amur leopards with these camera traps, with the shots of those wildlife. And we filmed other elements like the landscapes with normal techniques, but that was the hardest animal to get a shot of. I think our team only saw the Amur leopard once for 15 weeks in 2 years of trying to get that sequence.
Yeah, and it's fascinating when you get the Siberian tiger that comes out too.
Yeah, so that was a surprise. We didn't really know. Yeah, so when I first started the project, I thought it was going to be so hard just to get one cat. I put all my money into filming the Amur leopard, and the time went into camera trapping the Amur leopard. And then we suddenly realized that some of the areas were being used by, and the winter trails were being used by tigers.
Oh.
So the story shifted to be about this idea that these two big cats exist in the same landscape. And so we actually camera trapped from different positions this the key places where we started to work out. But it was like a detective story, trying to work out where to put the cameras. And the payoff obviously was fantastic, seeing the Amur leopards cross through one section and then literally the Siberian tiger walks through its paw prints. And that's never been filmed before. And it was such a surprise, and it was so unique. I think we had about 4 shots which showed that relationship. And up until then, no one's really been able to capture that. So it felt like we didn't just get the rarest cat in the world, we got the 2 biggest, rarest cats in the world, and showing their relationship in this incredible frozen forest. So that felt like a really exciting new element to bring to the series.
That's so cool. And that's what we are going to be today in a little bit here. We're going to become that Amur leopard. We have maybe a couple more questions. I mean, the one that I thought was really fascinating is these turtles. I don't know if you've seen the students, but the turtles basically freeze. And the only thing that's active in their bodies is their brains barely. And then they come alive. So watching this footage where it's so cool. And the shots you chose of these turtles coming back to life after being basically frozen solid, it was really neat.
Yeah, and actually they are only about this big. Yeah, it's really hard to get a sense of scale, like when they're in the film, but they're so tiny. And what amazes me is how nature is so diverse across the whole globe. And I always think about turtles as needing sunlight, needing warmth to even move, like, turtles in the beaches in Costa Rica or whatever, like they need warmth because they're reptiles, right? But actually, these are the furthest north reptiles, and they are specialized to be able to live in these conditions because they shut down for 6 months, and they, like you said, they basically freeze. Everything shuts down apart from their brain. There's a little bit of activity, but somehow they stay alive. And then once it gets up to 0 degrees, a little bit warmer than that, they just come back to life. And it's amazing to be able to film that. And we work with scientists who have been studying them, so we knew that how to do it through their expertise. But to capture that on film was really exciting.
Okay, maybe we'll do a couple questions really quick because Dan's dying to play Minecraft and some of the students are too. Miss Wald's class is asking, what's your favorite animal to film?
What's my favorite animal to film? Do you know what? I pretty much love all wildlife. I love filming elephants. They're just so beautiful to watch. And the baby elephants are so cute. Like, you can't go wrong with baby elephants. So that's probably. And I like sea otters as well. They are really cool, and the way they kind of when the mums lie on the back and they have their babies on their chest. I filmed them once, and they were like fluffing up their babies and blowing air into the fur and making them really, really fluffy. And they're so cute, and they just have all these like little cute little like they rub their faces and they rub each other, and then once the baby's all fluffed up, the mum can go swimming. So then she just like drops her baby on the water, and then she just swims, and the baby's like a balloon. It just floats. It can't swim, so it's safe. And she just leaves it there for like 5 minutes while she goes fishing, and she comes back, and the baby's like, meh, meh. They're really cute. I love cute animals, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know if you have time to stick around. It's up to you. If I know you will start playing some Minecraft, and you're welcome to hang out backstage, and we can bring you out for any other questions students have. I think while we're playing this, we love, if you can stick around. If not, that's great. So thank you so much for joining us to answer some of these questions. I don't know if students realize how lucky we are to have an awesome guest like Jane.
Thank you. I'll probably stick around for like half an hour because I'm interested to see what the Minecraft game is, but then I have to go and pick up my kids from school. So
yeah. Absolutely. So thank you very much, Jane. We might bring you back if you're here. And thanks, students, for all your awesome questions. So my friend Dan, let's get into this Minecraft world. So we've kind of got the basis for this world where we become the Amur Leopard, which is going to be fascinating. So let's get into the Minecraft, show students where we're going and where we get these worlds.
So we are going into new and featured. We are going to go up to the top right corner and go into search library. And we're going to type in Frozen. Now, we're not looking for the Frozen movie. We are looking for Frozen Planet. And in particular, we're looking for Frozen Lands. So this one back down in the bottom left corner. So let's just go through that again to make sure you've got it. So new and featured. We're typing Frozen up here. Magnifying glass or hitting enter. And then we're going to click on Frozen Lands. We've got that up. We're going to click Create World. So when you're ready, click Create World. Mine's fairly quick. I've got a gaming rig here, so things happen pretty quickly usually. On your Chromebooks or iPads, it might take a little bit longer to load it. So just be patient as it loads up because these are big worlds.
Yeah. And does it download a little resource pack for you?
Yeah, there are resource packs that are attached to these. Yeah. So because there's a lot of custom content here, it will take a wee bit.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Just before you go on, Dan, just let us know if you're into the world, you found the world. We're doing Frozen Lands. All right.
All right. So I'm just going to go into my settings before we get too far along here. And I'm just going to make sure my music and audio is up a little bit so that you can hear it. Can you hear that okay?
I can't hear you. No.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. So, we'll see what happens. If you can't hear David Attenborough, maybe we'll come back. Or do you want me to come back?
We need to hear David Attenborough.
Fix that now? Okay. So I'm going to save and exit here. And I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to reshare again. And we'll see if we can get that to come up with the audio. Because it's pretty important to hear what David Attenborough has to say.
We forgot to ask Jane if she had met David Attenborough during the filming of this.
Oh, yeah. That would be cool to know. All right. So I'm sharing it again. So can you pop my screen up there?
Boom.
There we go. So we'll jump back into where I left off. And I did notice in the forum there, some people were asking if they are going to be able to do multiplayer here. No, this world does not support multiplayer.
Yeah,
it is a first person. It's a one-person experience. And to start off, before we get going too far here, we do need to change to a third-person perspective. So I'm in a first-person perspective now, and I need to change to a third-person perspective. So to do that, I'm going to press F5 on my keyboard. If you're using a Chromebook, you're going to be holding down your launcher button and then pressing the number 5 button. And you press that until you go to third-person perspective. So this is third-person perspective here. So you want the one from behind. So there's basically 3 views: first person, third person from the back, and third person from the front. So we want from the back.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk up here and I'm going to open the door.
It's a cool biome.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to be patient and walk through. There's some cutaway scenes where you're just going to let it play. Can you crank your volume a little bit, Dennis? Is there?
In the far
yep.
north of our planet
Oh,
lie
yeah.
vast frozen lands of snow-covered forests and open tundra. On the tundra's southern fringes, winter is significantly less severe. The slight increase in annual sunlight has enabled a stunted forest to develop. It's the northern edge of the world's largest woodland, the boreal forest. These forests store twice as much carbon as a tropical forest, and they play a crucial part in regulating the climate of the entire planet. One of the most remote tracts stands in the far east of Siberia, and it is the last stronghold of the world's rarest big cat,
Ooh.
the Amur leopard. Hunting has brought it close to extinction. Only 120 are left in the wild.
Wow.
Each must patrol a territory of over 100 square miles to find enough to eat. But leopards are clever opportunists and watch for clues. Crows. They too are looking for food.
Okay, here.
Hey, Dan.
So,
Dan, before,
yes.
before we get too far, a lot of the classes are just still getting in. So remember that we're going into the new and featured. And what are we searching for?
You're typing in Frozen.
Yeah.
And then hitting enter, and then it will display all the BBC worlds for the Frozen series.
Yeah.
And you're going to click on Frozen Lands.
Frozen Lands. And then we want to change to third person. And for that, you can go to your settings and click on third person, or the keyboard shortcut on a Chromebook is it the control and
It's going to be a launcher button and the number 5 if you're on a Chromebook.
launcher and number 5. Okay, cool. We just, some of the classes, it's loading or might be a little bit fast. So let's just make sure you're in there. Now, it might take us a while to get all our food. So Dan is here. And as you can see, we got that, we're already talking. And as we're doing it, our leopard is getting super hungry.
Yes. And we do have to be careful as we walk around here. So we were using the usual movement keys to move around and our mouse button to move around. So as you can see, there are a number of things that we have to be careful of and watchful for here. So we have to be looking out for traps. So they are hidden and they will just pop up. We've also kind of got a timer going here and we've got a hunger bar. So we need to find food quickly without jumping into a trap, so we have to be fairly cautious too.
Yeah.
So I'll walk around this way and see how we do here.
I find almost every one of the squares you can assume that might be a hunter's trap.
So just be patient and cautious and keep trying. Oh, so there's one that's showing up there. So I knew there was one here last time, so I'm gonna maybe walk around a bit. So I've got to find 3 pieces of meat. And Darren, there's something going on in here. I don't know if you can hear them, but you can definitely see them. Do you know what's sort of showing me where the meat is?
Yeah. So we have, if you're listening, we have got the little crows in there who are, they're going to be circling, which is very similar. And actually, this is based on the BBC. They actually had a shot where when they're looking, oh, there we go. So you're going to look, students, for,
no.
oh, Dad. Going to be looking.
Let's start over again.
Got to keep starting over. So you're looking for the crows. The crows are going to help you find where the food is. It's fascinating to think in the actual documentary, they had these cameras that were, hey, your food's gone now. It's changed places.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, I think I see some crows over there. So I've got to get over here.
There they are.
All right. So this looks like it's the only way really across the
Yeah, I think it is. So this I found really challenging. You got to go right to the left-hand side and then press and then you're doing your space bar to jump, right, Dan?
That's right. Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we go. I got across. Oh, there's some meat over there. All right. So let's see if I can get over here. I'm gonna try to avoid these little piles of snow. I suspect that there might be some traps.
Now there was another control, right? You can kind of smell. You can click on your.
Yes. If I do a right click, so that's a snake bite on your Chromebook, a 2-finger tap on your Chrome pad, will do the same thing.
I hope Miss Morgan's class got in.
Oh, there's a trap. So that'll help me detect traps.
Yeah. Oh, this one was also quite hard. You had to go right to the left-hand side and then leap. Maybe take a running jump.
There we go.
You did it. Nice time.
Oh, there's one.
And what are you doing to make that smell?
Right click.
Doing a right click. Get the
Now,
snake one.
Don't get too click happy with that because it does pause you for a second, and that takes time. All right.
I think the easiest way another person's asking to switch to third person is to go escape, click in your settings, and then do the little toggle from first to third. That's probably the easiest. Let's see if Dan makes it to the
third one here. So got 1, 2. So I wonder where that third one is.
And Adrian's telling us our Minecraft world is still loading. So that's okay.
It will take a while. Just be patient. Oh, it's over there now. Ooh. Good thing I'm wearing my glasses.
That's really cool.
Can I make it in time?
Right there. Yeah, you're right.
Run for it. There we go. All right, now I got to find 5. So starting over here again.
Oh my gosh. Hi to Raiden and hi to Adrian. I'm curious how realistic. Jane, do you want to come back and we can? Hey, what do you think of this Minecraft world and how it compares to the actual one in the Frozen world?
I think it's awesome. I love it. I love watching the beginning. Yeah, I love watching the beginning because you basically taken the same visuals and commentary that David Attenborough read in from the script and applied it to the Minecraft world. So I hadn't really realized that, but it's exactly like the kind of introduction, and then you go into it. And the game's really fun. It's great.
Yeah,
it's really
we're looking for the crows. It's challenging. The things that are challenging, Dan, right? You can't go too far at either side. You have to make sure that you're crossing back and forth, and you'll find the different side. Yes, Mrs. Niebauer's class on a Windows machine, function in F5. You got that first person change. Settings and third person. Yeah, settings and video, and you'll see there's a drop down for third person. And don't worry, we're not in a rush. There's time to go through here. Dan's taking his time. He's doing really well. He's practiced quite a bit, and he's also very good at this. So when you had cameras in the actual world, they were like up in trees, and they were triggered just by motion, I'm imagining, right?
Well, they tended to be low because it's always really nice when you're filming to film from the animal's low perspective. So we would actually put them on the base of the trees and then like secure them so they were like rock steady on the trees. But the biggest challenge actually was the ice and the cold, because it got down to like minus 30 degrees and cables snap and batteries die. And actually like we actually had a bear eat the camera and bite through, not eat the camera, but like bite the camera trap and destroy the box. So it was definitely like we had to ruggedize the whole system. But yeah, we could have put them in the trees, but you wouldn't get such a nice low perspective as getting like the eye line and see their world through their kind of the way they walk through the trees.
Did you get some other unexpected you got a Siberian tiger? That was an unexpected animal. Were there any other like cute animals you saw? Were there other animals there? I know when we have our cameras like that here, one of my friends caught a bunch of wolves and badgers and a muskrat and all kinds of different things.
Yeah, we saw badgers and 2 different species of bears that live in the Siberian forests. We saw these kind of like almost like weasels. They were really funny. They were like long and brown with these kind of yellow tufts. They were really cool. Deer, there's lots of deer, and there's wild boar. So they're the kind of prey sources that Amur leopards and tigers will try to catch. So yeah, lots of deer, and then lots of birds. I mean, it's a really beautiful location.
Yeah.
And we did have a question there, Darren, for Jane. If some students were wondering if you'd met David Attenborough before.
I have. I've been very fortunate to meet him, and he is just such a lovely person. He's such a wonderful man. He's so knowledgeable, so passionate about, the films and the natural worlds. So yeah, I have met him a few times on BBC projects, and then on this project we had to do our commentary recording, which normally is in a studio. We had to do that remotely, so he actually had to be in his house for safety reasons, and then I was in a studio in Bristol, and we did it down the line.
Could you get him to do my phone message on my?
Yeah.
Delilah, if you're having trouble accessing the library, if it's blocked, then you do have to contact the tech people at your school or your school division, because that's a whitelist thing. They have to make sure the library is unblocked. And Emerson, yes, you want to go to video and you want to go to your. Actually, Dan, can you show that right now where your settings are?
Sorry, the settings.
Yeah, settings.
A Lapland bumblebee.
And you want to go to video.
Yeah.
And you want to go to third person.
All the other members of her colony were killed by the cold.
There we go.
She survived, as bumblebee queens do, thanks to her larger size, her particularly thick fur, and a natural antifreeze that she has in her body. As temperatures continue to rise, she begins to thaw. She vibrates her flight muscles, which raises her body temperature to over 30 degrees Celsius in just 6 minutes. There is no time to lose. She must now create an entire colony. First, the queen must find a drink of nectar to regain her strength.
Okay.
So that's a great intro, and it's a fascinating video when they show the bee actually thawing. Right, it had frost all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you film a Lapland bumblebee? Where and how did you actually get that footage?
So again, we work with scientists who were studying Arctic bumblebees all over the world, and they studied them from Alaska to Canada to Sweden. And we decided to film this particular species in Sweden because biologically, they're just so interesting. The queen bee is the only one that survives. The rest of her entire colony dies. And so when she wakes up after 6 months of winter, she has to warm herself up and then work really hard to create a whole new colony by gathering pollen, gathering nectar, staying warm herself, and then creating like a little nest of eggs. And then she sits on her eggs, almost like a bird would sit on its eggs, and vibrates, warms her eggs until they, days later emerge as little baby bees. And they're so cute. They're like all silver. They're so sweet. So we worked with scientists to film it, and it was a lovely story. And actually, David Attenborough loved this story in the film because he'd never heard of it, and that was amazing because he knows everything about nature. And he actually was like, I've never heard of the species. I've never seen it. What it does is amazing, and the footage is beautiful. So he, when you can film something and he appreciates it in that way, I felt like, like a class student that had just got an A. I was super pleased.
Yeah, you get a gold star. That's so cool. Yeah. One thing we really want to emphasize is Dan, we practiced this, and getting through, even to get the meat, I know that took me a long time. So if you're expecting to do this as fast as Dan, like, don't think you're going to do that. It took me many, many tries to get the Emmer leopard to find the meat and to find where they were and to avoid the traps. So just want you to know that if you're, say it again. So once you get the 3 pieces of meat, you have to do it again where you get 5, and it's challenging, right? So you have to finish this level. And if I'm being really, really honest, I did not successfully get all the nectar in this level.
It's very challenging, yes.
So don't feel like you have to get through all of them. You get an awesome experience just playing as the leopard. And if you get all 5 pieces of meat in the second one, you get right to the Lapland bumblebee.
Yeah, and how I'm moving up, how I'm changing the elevation of my bee there is by pointing up and down with my mouse. Oh, come on, get in there.
Awesome. And Joel's joining us from my hometown, Sherwood Park, which is really great.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I think it's going to take a few attempts here. It is very challenging moving this bee about.
Yeah. And I know Jane's here for a little bit longer. So students, if you do have some questions, go for it. I don't know. I'm presuming that Jane wants to be here, but if you ever have to go, by all means, we're so honored to have you here. It's so cool.
Thank you. I'm just texting my daughter because I probably do need to go in about 2 minutes. But if anyone has a last question, that I'm really happy to.
Just some last questions. Anything about the BBC and Jane and just being a filmmaker, which is just super awesome. So let us know. Some sort of like,
I'm out of time. Oh no.
Oh no, Dan.
What's a little nest? It's so cute.
Alicia, when I'm done, can I build? Can you actually get too creative in these worlds afterwards, Dan?
The other world that we were in. What's going on here? Something weird happened.
Uh-oh.
Why can't I fly my bee? Now I'm a person now, I think.
You become a person. Okay, now you're a bee. No, you're not. You might have to restart.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a glitch or something there because now I can't fly as a bee. I am no longer a bee. I can move the bee, but I'm no longer a bee.
That happened. That's pretty cool to walk around the world as a person. Can you gather nectar?
I can't do anything.
Uh-oh.
That's an interesting little bug there that we've discovered.
Yeah, that was cool.
A bug. That's a
and not the insect variety.
Yeah.
It is actually where that comes from when they say debugging.
Oh, no, I think I'm going to have to quit this and get out, and I'll see if I can go back in and see if it loads back up again properly. Let's try that.
I found, and so Miss Castanella's class asking, why are there so many traps? I know, we got very frustrated, both of us. But the one thing that I did is I went to the right and I went down to get the first one. And
there
then I crossed. So yeah, we might going back into the leopard one might be a good idea. There's a lot of traps.
So if you do have that issue with the bee, everyone, where you suddenly are no longer the bee, and you need to be the bee again, just exit the world and then jump back in, and then you should be fine.
Should be fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go and get my kids from school, but thank you for inviting me.
Jane,
that was so interesting.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. That was really, really cool. Wonderful to meet you. So students, let's thank you. Big shout out. I hope we can do this again.
Hopefully there'll be another time to see you guys another time.
Great. Thanks, Jane. We appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
That was so cool.
Okay, so yeah, we're what's going on? Okay, there we go. Let's try this again.
I know, Dan, you made it look easy doing the leopard, but I had a very difficult time.
This is a challenging little mini game.
I think with the nectar too, you start getting greedy. You're like, oh, I want to get 4.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far. See, you'll notice up in the screen there at the top right that it says the eggs are getting cold. So when you see that, you need to jump in and then head back to our little cave here and warm them up. And I'm warming up by pressing the space bar. And I just got
Oh.
that one in time.
I can't believe you made it back for that one.
Yeah.
And the only real tip with the leopards is try
Sniff a
and try,
lot.
try and try and sniff. And eventually you kind of figure out the path of where to go.
Hmm. And I'm going to need you to watch that top corner of my screen there and make sure that when it says that the eggs are getting cold, that I'm heading back.
Yeah, it's going to happen any second, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
Heading
Back. What's your favorite block in Minecraft? Aaliyah is wondering.
That's a tough question. I'm going to have to say that I really like the barrier block, which is a secret block that you have to give yourself using a give
Ooh.
command, and the command block. I would say those are my favorite
Oh,
blocks.
Dan, go back.
Okay.
Go.
Uh,
And how are you navigating with the mouse? Is it up and down? And that
yeah,
gets
up
you
and
out?
down to go down, and it's not the typical sort of controls. It's a little different, so it does take a little while to get used to piloting this bee.
Yeah.
So I really need to get all 7 on this run, I think.
Oh, yeah, because there's the other timer.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Down. Okay.
4, 3. Oh, okay. Your timer's going to go right away here.
3 more. Okay.
I don't think you can do it this run. Maybe. 1. Oh, my
I'm
God.
heading back.
Dan. 22 seconds. So, students, teachers, I didn't make it through this level. I have to be honest.
So spacebar to warm them up when you've landed, and now you just have to wait until the time runs out. Time runs out, should be all right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. If you loaded up the Minecraft, so it took a long time to load for some of the students, if they had started loading while we were talking, would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Fair enough. I cannot believe you even made it through there.
That was incredibly challenging.
Phew.
Okay.
This is all new for me, Dan. What are you doing in this one?
All right, so in this one, we are equipped with a camera and a journal. So our job is to go around and take pictures of various targets. So I think they might be wildlife, like they were in the past Oceans World that we visited, or they may be the effects that are that global warming is having on the environment here, or there may be things like animal tracks and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of different things that we have to pay attention to. First thing that we need to do is, again, we need to change our perspective. So we're going to go back to our first person view. So I'm going to press 5 or function 5 on my Windows computer to cycle through and get back to first person view. Or again, if you're on a Chromebook, you're holding that launcher button and the number 5. All right, so on my hotbar here, I'm just going to slide this along, my little slider button to select my camera. And or if you don't have a mouse, you can use the numbers on your keypad to change to number 3, which is the camera. And then we've got number 7, which is our journal here. So the targets are already laid out for us. So these little blue diamonds that are hanging around, that's an indication of where we need to go to look at something and take a picture.
Aaliyah's dying to know your favorite color, Dan.
Red.
Really? No
Yes.
way.
Ooh. All in the water. That's okay. I can get across here. Let's go see. I'm still kind of in that mode from playing with the tiger, and I'm imagining there's traps around. But there isn't in this one, so it's okay. I can walk around and not get injured.
Oh, Miss D's class is saying we have some students celebrating Eid Mubarak. So happy Eid for everyone who's just gone through Ramadan. Hope you have an awesome day today. That's great. Oh, wow.
And so I'm right-clicking here, or again, snake bite, two-finger
Can
tap
you
on your Chrome badge.
show us the entry that you got from that?
Yes, so let's go over and look at our entry. So I got a picture of my Siberian tiger.
Again, if you haven't seen the doc, you have to watch that Frozen Worlds. It's so cool, the documentary. And so if you've watched it, that's why Dan, I don't know if you saw how excited I was. Having watched it, to get Jane here to talk about some of the filming and meeting David Attenborough, like how cool. Just how amazingly cool.
I know. It's
was just
pretty cool to talk to somebody that was, integral to the making those amazing documentaries.
Yeah, it's so cool.
All right, so was there one over here?
What have you gotten so far? Just with the one. I was looking at the chat. You got a tiger.
So we got a tiger, and I thought there was a blue one over in the corner here, and it seems to have disappeared for a second. So I don't know. If it disappeared or not. Let's walk over here. The arrows are pointing me this way. Okay, so we'll go this way.
Merida's asking, do you have a favorite cat in Minecraft, Dan, or maybe in real life?
I do have a favorite cat. My cat, Matty. She's my boss. She tells me where to go and where I need to be and what time it is.
I don't know if I believe you, because I've never seen Maddie in any of our videos.
That's because, if it was last year when we were still at the Airbnb before we moved back to Scotland, she got into the room that was my office, because that was also her toilet room. But now that we've moved into our new home and I have my own office again, I close the door, because otherwise she will come in and she will tell me, why aren't you spending time with me?
Do you have a favorite Minecraft adventure game, Dan? Any worlds that really stand out?
There are a lot of really good ones in the education library. Active Citizen I really liked.
Oh, yeah. Tracks.
Yep, we've got some tracks.
Is that part of your? Yeah, there's your journal entry.
That's what I need. Oh,
Fantastic.
There's something
ghost
there.
Camera.
It's a ghost camera.
So cool.
I think. Oh, it says you found leopard footprints. Place the field camera. Okay, so this is what Jane was talking about earlier, right? Was the hidden trap cameras that will wait until an animal has appeared. So I've clicked the camera that was on my hotbar and I've placed it on here, and we've got a little timer indicating that it's going to wait.
Oh, cool.
So come back later to see your photo. So it's going to take a picture after a while and add it to my journal when something walks there. So again, kind of like she was talking about the caribou who go over the same path time after time. Perhaps this animal here uses the same path to get to and go to different places, so we can set the camera up in a place where it's likely going to capture an image of our animal.
Yeah, I don't know if you're like me, Dan. I don't like being timed, so I definitely prefer the worlds where I don't have a timer on. I like to be like this. I like being able to explore and take pictures and maybe do some building. Ooh, Janny's asking, do you have a favorite Minecraft biome?
That's a good question. I guess it just depends on what I'm building in. But if I'd have to say which biome I like best, I think it's the taiga. I really like the taiga, which is weird because I actually don't like snow. I like to look at snow. I don't like to be in the snow.
Our students in Cold Lake are offended. No, just kidding.
I have family in Cold Lake.
You have family there? Oh yeah, cool.
I do.
There.
But yeah, I actually don't like being in the snow. I just like seeing the snow. So in Scotland and Dumfries, we don't generally get the snow around us very much.
Yeah.
But I've seen it from afar this year. Like it was in the hills.
Yeah.
We didn't actually see it anywhere near us all year. It barely went below zero the whole time in Dumfries, which was nice. I could see it on the hills and it looked really pretty, and that was really great. That was fun. I didn't have to shovel my driveway.
I'm genuinely interested. I had a hard time getting through and finding the meet. Students and teachers, have you gotten through the first level? I know Dan's here. Dan's a ninja, but it took me a long time to get through. Oh, what did you get there?
So we've got our Amur Leopard Prince. And I can flip back and forth in my journal by pressing the left and right click buttons. So if I want to look at the other things that I've got here. Right, so I've got that blue one coming up here, and I haven't been able to find out what that is yet. So we are
Dan,
actually in a Taiga Tundra area right now, actually. Yes, sorry, what were you going to say, Darren?
Novi Virtual joining us from Michigan, wondering,
Oh, okay.
do you have a favorite mob?
I like, for peaceful mobs, I really like the cats. And for hostile mobs, probably the warden, or take a picture here. What's this? I've unlocked something. So what have I unlocked?
Oh, that's great.
Erosion.
Mrs.
So
Niebauer's
that one was
class-
tricky
oh,
there.
So it's actually land. Oh, because they
Mhm.
talk about that actually in the video where there's these large portions of the taiga that are just like getting eroded. So Mrs. Niebauer's, none of my first, second graders class made it past the Emerald Leopard, but some have finished finding 3 pieces of meat. And honestly, I had a lot of difficulty with that. If your first and second graders got 3 pieces of meat, like kudos, that is amazing. Just right there. That's fantastic.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
to keep in mind, I am a gamer. I play lots of games, and I have practiced these ones before.
Yes.
Because I knew we had a time limit during our presentation today, so I knew I had to get at least somewhat good at getting them. So don't be frustrated. It can be frustrating the first time because these games are challenging.
Novi's virtual class from Michigan actually made it to the bees, so that's fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
If you can get the nectar, it's pretty. You got to do a little strategic, grab the nectar and go back. Dan, Miss Niebauer's class is also asking, what's your favorite thing that you have built in Minecraft? My favorite thing of yours, Dan, is the museum. So Dan has a whole town that he has made. And the one thing I love is your museum where you've got all these cool things. I like your museum. What's your favorite thing that you've built?
Oh, that's tough. I think my space. I like my moon activity that I built.
So Dan has built a space rover.
Yes, and the lunar crater, and the Elk Island build that I did was also a really fun one. And I know you'd like me to put your house in it because it's actually his neighborhood.
So Dan actually built my neighborhood for a school board, and he goes right a block away from my house. So I'm encouraging Dan to actually add my house. So I'm going to send Dan some pictures. I hope I get added to that world. Oh, Miss Castanella's class. One of my students is where I am in Alberta, Sherwood Park. Oh, is this the last one? Where is this last one, Dan? We were just wandering around here.
I think I got it all. Let's go back here to the green one and see.
Oh, you just have to like give it to.
Oh, no, that guy did. There should be a guy that shows up. There should be a person that shows up here. If you've successfully taken a picture of everything.
I think you got one more picture to take, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So it's still directing me over to this one here. So there's something that I've missed that I need to take a picture of.
Do you want to fly? Maybe we can help students with our hints.
I cannot fly. So in this particular game, in the ocean one, we could enable world builder mode and we could go into creative mode as well.
Yeah.
In this one, the cheats are enabled. So if I try to go to game mode,
in the game,
it says cheats aren't enabled. This one. So there's a way around that, but I don't have time to walk you through the steps that you need to do.
Yeah. Mrs. Castellano, if you had a student who got through the bees and is now on the last one, wow, that's incredible. Way to go. Students, if you did that, good job. Honestly, that was not easy.
Over here, take a picture.
Dan's just getting photo happy now. Click.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Okay, so it's still saying come over here. Okay.
Do you have to pick up the camera or something?
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had to pick up the camera. So I've right-clicked on that camera. I picked it up. Now I can go back. So let's see the pictures I've got there. Okay, so we've got loads of pictures.
Leopard, Siberian tiger, erosion.
Okay. So it only keeps the pictures that are relevant to your mission. It doesn't keep all the other ones as nice as they may have been. Or as not nice as they've been. Just the great thing about technology today is with my camera or my phone, I can walk around and take hundreds of pictures of the same thing to get that perfect shot. Back in my day, you had a film spool in your camera, and if you were lucky, you had 24 shots or you had 12 shots, and you didn't get to see it. You didn't get to see how well the pictures turned out for 2 weeks. So you might end up with a picture where it was like that, or hands in front of the lens.
Yeah. So Sarah, if you're on a Chrome, oh, maybe I'm not sure if they're behind us or if they're actually live because they're still switching first person to third person. So they might have joined us late, but
Mhm.
I like to go escape and go into my settings. That's how I do it.
Okay,
But
so
Emerson says, sorry, lots of excitement and yelling in my first grade class. So they have to get 3 pieces of meat and they turn into bees. Actually, you have to get 3 pieces and then you have to get 5. It is super challenging for grade 1. That is going to be really tough to get those. But
mhm.
if you can, let us know. That's pretty awesome.
So
Okay,
I'm
you
gonna-
got your.
Yeah, I've got everything now. I can give my photos over. That individuals now appeared. The researchers appeared in the camp. So you head back to the camp once you've got everything. You can hand over the photos. And actually, just a little trick here: immersive reader. If you haven't seen the immersive
Yeah.
reader tutorial, I'll just introduce it to you really quickly. If you click on the button here, it opens up immersive reader. It's a really great tool for ESL or emerging students, and it's not or maybe it was. There's a problem connecting. Okay, so this might be a situation where I might have to close and restart Minecraft before it'll start up. But I will tell you about immersive reader. So if you click on that button, normally what happens is it opens up the text that we're seeing on the screen here. You can read it. There's some settings there. You can even translate into different languages. So it's a really great tool.
Oh, Mrs. Barnes' class is asking, Dan, your thoughts on Minecraft Legends.
You know what? I have not checked it out yet. I've seen advertisements for it popping up in my different social feeds. I'm like, okay, I obviously have to go out and try this out at some point. So, I'm definitely actually I'll throw that question back to everyone. If anyone has played Legends, Minecraft Legends, what's it like? Let us know in the forum. I'd love to hear your opinions on it. So if I know if I should go out and buy it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you know that the world is about 1.2 warmer than it was in the 19th century? The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has risen by 50%. And as we know that the permafrost is melting in the tundra areas, which is, it's not only releasing more carbon, so it's creating this sort of compounded effect where all that carbon that's been locked up for tens of thousands or millions of years is being released, and it's just sort of multiplying the effect by releasing it all into the atmosphere. But in terms of melting permafrost, we're also potentially releasing pathogens and viruses that have been frozen for thousands of years and have never encountered humans before. And we don't know what kind of effect that's going to have on people as they're walking around those areas. So there's a number of dangers that are around because of global warming.
Yeah. If you watch the BBC
a
has
few benefits here and there, but not very many. We've discovered, I think more recently, and up in Canada and in Siberia, they've discovered frozen mammoths.
Yeah.
That are virtually intact, mummified by the freezing process. And it's. I mean, we've been discovering them for about 100 years now, but more recently, as that process has stepped up, we've been able to find even more of them.
Didn't they make a meatball out of?
I believe
that's
DNA. Been done a few times. Like I've heard stories where when they were finding them back in the late 19th century or early 1900s, they'd feed the meat to their dogs or make a burger out of it. I've heard of some of this stuff. I don't know if it's all true or not, because I don't know what those where those stories came from. It's just stuff that I've heard over the years. And that'd be interesting to learn more about.
In Mrs. Barnes' class, two students have finished the game, so props to you. That's
all right.
Accomplishment.
Now it'd be interesting to see if they could sample that DNA, grow that in a lab, and then turn that into a burger.
Yeah. Aaliyah is still dying to know what your favorite dog is. Dan, you ever have a dog too? Are you a dog person?
I do not have a dog. I do love dogs. Labs are my favorite. Although I also really have a soft spot for Siberian Huskies.
Yeah.
All right, so we've done a great job here. And there we go. Now, how much time do we have left here, Darren? Do we have...
Looks like 11 minutes.
11 minutes? Do we have time for a speed run?
Oh my gosh. This is my favorite. Ms. Niebauer's class had a first grader who's getting frustrated because he couldn't find the meat. After you gave him kudos, he persevered and he is now a bee.
Awesome. Yeah, just keep trying.
Keep on swimming. Just keep swimming.
So I'm going to start this over again. I'm going to try a speed run this time.
Oh my God.
since we've got 11 minutes. So I'll see how well I can do. Okay.
That was really cool. I love
Let's see.
those ones where you get to explore the world.
So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to call that up again. I'm going to load it and start it again. And create world. Okay, we're switching back our perspective here. Oop, wrong one. There we go. So I'm going to see if I can get through both Leopard and Bee games in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. This is going to be fast. I took a different path than you. I don't know if you need advice, but I went right at the log.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I found it was pretty good. I got the food, got the next one, and then hopped over. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to give you advice, but I found it was a good path.
I will try that.
I tried it after the 32nd time. I was like, hey, this is a good path.
In the far north of
In the far north.
lie vast frozen lands.
You do a good
With
impersonation.
snow-covered forests,
I didn't want to do it in front of Jane. She's actually met him. That would have been embarrassing.
tundra's southern fringes, winter is significantly less severe.
Dan, do you have a favorite out of these three?
A slight increase in
The Amber Leopard, the Bumblebees, or taking
has
pictures?
enabled a stunted
I'd say the leopard.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's the northern edge of the world's largest woodland, the boreal forest.
Boreal.
These forests,
Which is very interesting. The boreal forest starts just north of where I am. And actually,
Mhm.
probably before there were a lot of settlers in this area, it probably was as far
the
south.
climate of the entire planet. One of the most remote tracts
Welcome, Michelle Armstrong, joining us from Calgary.
of Siberia. And it is the last stronghold of the world's rarest big cat, the Amur leopard. Hunting has brought it close to extinction. Only 120.
One thing that Jane did an awesome job of is telling this story as if you're the Amur leopard. So if you haven't watched the BBC, you really should and get a sense of that.
Oh, yeah.
Then the Siberian tiger comes out like, whoa, we thought this Amur leopard was a big cat.
The cinematography is amazing. I mean, I've been watching David Attenborough documentaries since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how the technology has allowed us to get so much
Amazing.
up close and really see the beauty of these animals. All right, so I'm gonna
Watch the traps. I took a right here and went down.
sneak around the corner here.
Oh, there's the meat. Yeah. Go. You were so close.
There we go. Where's one? Okay.
Yeah.
What
What
happened? Something happened.
Something happened indeed. So Cobblestone Collective has their YouTube channel. Someone's asking about your YouTube channel, Dan.
I have a YouTube channel as well. It's called Outside the Blocks.
What?
It's got a number assigned to it as well, so I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Jump over that one. But
I don't know about the speed run, Dan. I think you did better the first time.
Yeah, I think I did. Yes, I do have a channel, and I post tips mostly about it's almost all Minecraft. So tips and tricks on how to do various things. And okay, let's do that. Light that up. Okay. Oh, the meat's not there. Okay.
It changes place.
Right.
Eh?
Yeah.
Down at the
And yeah, I pretty much just do Minecraft with tips and tricks on redstone and command blocks and some of the different utilities and things that are available these days for creating your own custom Minecraft content.
Follow the crows. Follow the yellow brick crows. There we go. Oh, good
There we
jump.
go.
There's some meat to the right. Careful, there's a trap, I think, right. I want to say right there, but
2.
Awesome.
All right, let's run back here.
And then the third one I know is up top. So you have to go to that right here to the rocks, right?
And jump. And oh, that was close.
Oh my gosh. Oh, good. One of them, Mrs. Niebuhr's
Okay,
class. Follow the
three.
log. Follow the log, and then up on the stone.
The trickiest one was jumping that little stone there.
Yeah, it took a while. See, I took a right here and went down and got the first jump. That's what I did. Not that
okay.
you have to.
So where are all the wee bits of meat again?
I can't believe second graders are passing these levels. That's incredible. First and second grade. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's one, and across here. Come on.
So Dan, your work with Minecraft, you're doing basically building worlds sometimes on behalf of Minecraft as a Minecraft mentor, right?
So I actually have yet to contribute a world officially to the library.
Ooh, careful.
That's something that mentors can contribute worlds. So I've got a bunch of ones that I need to submit at some point. I have worked with Minecraft and Microsoft before for doing content. And I've worked with some other companies as well to develop worlds and content, like the Elk Island one.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun having to make custom content and stuff like that. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like I did not imagine that I would be, at this stage of my life and starting a career as a Minecraft education consultant.
Yeah, and it's actually really easy to start a YouTube channel. Leah's asking about how you start, but you just go to your YouTube, and if you're under 13, you need parental permission. But you can just start your channel and add content and get your subscribers. And
there's a lot of tricks to doing like content for YouTube. I had to look up because it's not something that I'd done before. So I educated myself, and there were a lot of tips and tricks on how to do your own YouTube videos, and like things like you should work on a schedule. So you should release a new video at least like once a month kind of thing. It doesn't matter. Or even if it's like once every 2 months or 3 months, it's fine. It's just as long as you have a regular schedule, so your subscribers know when you're going to have another video. If you do things kind of haphazardly, like I've been doing, like I do I'll do like 3 in a month, and then I won't do one for like 4 months. That's a good way to lose people watching your videos. So there's a lot of tricks to it. And
what we're also learning is that Dan is not good at multitasking, because he can't talk to me and be a leopard at the same time.
I am not good at multitasking. It is a major failing of mine.
Yeah. So Ms. Barnes' class, they're asking what a Minecraft mentor is. So that's a group that tests worlds, gives feedback on worlds, and talk to the Minecraft team about what's the content they're producing, right?
That's right. So the mentors was something that was created by Microsoft and Minecraft to allow educators and consultants like myself to help them with content and support, get our feedback, and sort of help the wider community, and really help with other educators with Minecraft. So I'm sharing my since 2009 experience with all sorts of people all over the world, and helping people get started with Minecraft.
Oh, wow. Another shout out to Miss Neubauer's class, who they posted on Twitter that a wonderful lesson, just how to keep on trying and the perseverance. So way to go, Mrs. Neubauer's class. It takes a lot of perseverance. And if you got through here, you're learning more than just about leopards. You're learning how to do something, and you get that failure, and you keep trying and trying again and getting success. So that's really impressive. Dan, we're wrapping it up. We're coming to the end. So I'm back on my screen now. We hope to see you in another lesson. I really hope you understand how special it was to see Jane and to get to work with people who do such incredible jobs. Like, what a great honor to have that person as a guest. So thanks very much to Jane Atkins and the BBC. What a great time. Dan, thanks for your guidance. Thanks for your awesome control. Getting through the world, I got to see after the bee. Super great.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for having us. I've enjoyed playing and showcasing this amazing world and all this great information.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and thanks for all your perseverance, students. You did awesome. Great job. Thanks for all your participation in the forum. We love it. So take care.
All right. Bye, everyone.